Hey, everybody. Welcome to January 6th, the week of January 6th. It's me, Omar Bam, aka Crypto, here with you guys. I'm very excited to share what we're starting off the week off with as far as cryptocurrency news. And wow, as you can see in the title, we are ripping with Bitcoin to start things off and really kind of changing how some of the technical analysis is looking right now for the positive, I would say. So we're going to be looking at that. We're going to be looking at some of the most important news that's being discussed in crypto right now to make sure that you guys stay on top of it. Every day, there is so much. So I do try to sift through it and bring you guys really the most relevant thing. When I make these videos, I'm really like thinking to myself, what would I want to see if I watch these videos? I, for the most part, just want to know what's going on, and that's what I try to bring you guys. So thank you guys so much for the valuable feedback you continue to leave me, for your support with this new channel and growing it. I would really like to make this something that we keep going and growing, just like we did with the first channel. And even starting this new channel has not been easy. As you can see, our growth is very different than it was early on. When I was first starting off, there were no other Ethereum news channels on YouTube, so it was a lot easier to grow. Nowadays, there's like dime a dozen crypto influencers out there. When I started, that wasn't even a word, influencer. That it kind of really came to fruit. Like that word really blew up around, what was it, like 2017, 2018? At least that's when I heard of it, and I thought it was kind of a dirty word for the most part. I just see myself as one of you guys, one of those crypto enthusiasts who wants to stay informed and ideally do the right things in this market. So as I guide myself, I try to share any wisdom along the way that I get. But yeah, as I've mentioned, it's been rough with this new channel. Like I remember starting off when I only had like 1,000, 2,000 subscribers, this channel got hit with something really strange on YouTube, and the channel almost went completely down. But luckily, one of you guys out there knew someone at Google who was able to take a look at it and get this channel kind of cleared so we can continue to share the news. So I'm super grateful to so many of you guys for helping the show in various ways throughout the year. So thanks for that support. So let's go ahead and start things off as we get started here. What's up, Validator? What's up, Kevin? What's going on? Let's take a look at what's going on with the prices as we do. So we have market caps overall for crypto up 0.8% at $3.758 trillion, almost at $4 trillion. Incredible. We are at pretty healthy gas prices for Ethereum, 10.438 Gwei. We came down in dominance for Ethereum from 12% down to 11.8% relative to Bitcoin's 53.8% dominance. And that shouldn't be too surprising when we look at what's going on with the prices. Yeah, we went up 1.1% today over the last 24 hours. Ethereum is at $3,678.62, but Bitcoin is really the star of the day. It has broken $100,000 again, maybe for real this time. It's at $102,120. And for the most part, you're seeing here that Bitcoin is the best performer. Going way down. We can keep going down. Is there anything doing better than Bitcoin? Better than 3.8%? No, we'd have to go way down here. Render token. Oh, nice. Render token. I haven't seen that name in a while. 6.2%. Looks like it's having a nice resurgence. Almost 30% over the last 7 days. I apologize. Anyway, so you're going to see here is that when Bitcoin is rising, it's really all about Bitcoin. And when it comes to altcoins rising, it's almost like they're in a different basket. Then it's altcoins rising, and usually those rise a lot more. So I do expect that if Bitcoin continues to stay above $100,000, we could see altcoins begin rallying soon afterwards, and we could begin ripping to much higher numbers like you usually see with altcoins. So as many commentators are noting, altcoin season seems to be around the corner. 2025 could very well be the year for altcoins. Again, when I hear from newer people, they always say, I'm looking to get into crypto. Like, what do I do? And I always recommend blue chips. Start with Bitcoin first. Understand how blockchains work and ledgers. Then you can look on Ethereum, smart contracts, DeFi. But you really got to start with Bitcoin. But it's it's the opposite most days. Most people think I missed the boat in Bitcoin, but did you really? I think in retrospect, you'll realize that you did not miss the boat. If you would have gotten in Bitcoin instead of holding some other NFT that you didn't understand an idea, an inkling about how it actually worked, let alone you're lucky if it doesn't even rug pull you, disappear, if it somehow even stays relevant, which is quite unlikely. I think in like 10, 20 years, people realize I should have just gotten Bitcoin at least and started there before delving into other things. But most people start backwards these days. And I think at the end of the day, once you see that other things start crashing, usually in a bear market, people then take the time to understand, well, why isn't Bitcoin dropping as much as whatever altcoin that I bought? And then it becomes clear to them why they should get on board the boat that they didn't miss and actually came back to port, I guess you could say, when the prices retraced somewhat. But yeah, anyway, just some thoughts there. We're not seeing huge moves in alts today, but I do feel like that will come up if we continue to see the strength in Bitcoin that we're seeing. Yeah. Does he even have real money? He's not broke, Dad. He's just waiting for alt season. Yeah, love that. We were, a lot of people were kind of waiting with bated breaths to see what was going on with this possible head and shoulders that look like it could be coming up. Looking at this time scale here, this daily on TradingView, you could see what it looked like. If we would have had this right shoulder actually be a right shoulder, then we could have dropped off possibly all the way down to $68,285, maybe entering this new year, maybe looking at what the Federal Reserve is doing and being more hawkish, not as good for markets, keeping interest rates higher. Maybe that'll play out. Maybe this euphoria, enthusiasm around the new Trump administration would kind of die away and we would just start dropping precipitously. But no, Bitcoin has had a lot of strength. Thank you so much, Azam. Bro, thank you for being you, man. If anybody didn't need to tip because you've done so much throughout the years, it's probably you. So thank you so much for that, man. I was like, I don't usually ask for any donations or anything, but I do appreciate that. You guys can always do that if you want to, and it will go to help the channel. Like if you're noticing in this direction, I have a news ticker here. That is something that I'm on a free trial for just 6 days for, and afterwards I'm gonna have to shell out like $6 a month to keep that. So if somehow I can get like some sort of consistent, like, well, not from you, Azam, but maybe from some YouTube sponsors and that kind of thing, or Patreon, if you guys want to go that way, then that will help fund ways to bring the show and make it better for you guys. Ideally, I would love to eventually get out to conferences again, get back to interviewing folks and get you guys that ground floor news and ideas. Yeah, we'll be looking into that, but I will have to raise some money because I'll tell you, teaching piano and doing this YouTube show does not really make that much money, but I'm so happy to be able to do it though. It brings me my life so much joy, and I hope to continue to keep it this way with you guys. But anyway, head and shoulders invalidated. You can see it right here. I pulled up the chart for you guys. Again, this is daily, 1 day bit stamps, so each candle is 1 day, and we have ripped over this $100,000 resistance level that could have been that right shoulder, broken above it. So potentially, actually, $100,000 could really become kind of the support level here. And it's certainly not going to be that $68,000 level. At least I hope not. But it looks like it invalidated a lot of that thesis. Anyway, here's kind of an overview that we are seeing from Coindex.com as we start this week. So yeah, they're going to talk about here how MicroStrategy announced that they're buying another 1,020 Bitcoin. I believe that's the first one of the new year. We're going to be looking at that. Kohler Group that added $21 million worth of Bitcoin to its treasury, doubling its holdings. Spot ETFs, really nice start here. Actually, no, this is on Friday. So they put here $908 million in inflows on Friday as a sign of demand returning. And yeah, it goes into these ideas here. Let me share some. So this is Paul Howard, Senior Director of crypto trading firm Wincent, who told CoinDesk, just as we saw institutions window dressing with their balance sheets, mindful of risk assets for year end and de-risking ahead of holidays, it's expected we see price action and demand recouping, especially as we head into what we expect will be a positive year for the asset class in upcoming U.S. administration. So yeah, maybe that's indeed why we saw Bitcoin drop off quite a bit as we ended the year. Was let's make the balance sheet look nicer. We don't have as much risk assets. We're not adding as much, but it's all green as we start this year. Howard added, my personal view is not to read too much into these levels. Bitcoin over $100,000 as we can expect volatility to increase in the coming fortnight. That's something that I think we can still bet on when it comes to Bitcoin and even to a greater degree altcoins, is that volatility is not going away. It's not really going away in any sort of time frame that I can see just yet. Over the long term, sure, we expect these will become more stable and something that they really should be adding to reserve treasuries and so on because it's so stable. But even with this volatility, volatility, we're seeing this kind of demand from governments and financial institutions and other kinds of institutions around the world. So I think that's something really positive. They're really thinking further down the line here, as we've been doing over the years. So yeah, we have gotten these hawkish comments and mark the start of these pullback for risk assets. But that's something that I think that I've finally digested more or less as a market, is that we shouldn't expect rates to come down that much. So if we actually see that rates do come down faster than what most are expecting right now, like we looked at, I believe it was in the last video, then it could be the case that could spur even greater rallies coming up. So I prefer coming into this year in this sort of way, something like $150 million plus in longs and shorts for Bitcoin got squashed today. So yeah, really nice start. Ethereum also did quite well. This is talking about a breakout over this level. So it's faced its own resistance here around 3,600 to 3,650. $50, and if we hadn't broken above that, we could have easily gone back down, it looks like to me, to around $3,400 in this range right here. So this could be setting us up potentially for these targets in this area up here, which would take us just south of $4,000 to around $3,800 for Ethereum. Etherator had an interesting comment here on x.com. He said, ETH is going to 20 to 25K, 20 to 25,000 if you're not sure, in 2025. That's this year. Everyone that expects it to top around 10K, that seems to be what I'm hearing the most, or I've heard the most over the last year, for where Ethereum is going to top out. So that seems to be the consensus. Not that most people are ever right when you look at these. But anyway, everyone that expects it to top around 10K will inevitably reprice their predictions once it quickly rips to 8 to 10K and the bull is clearly nowhere near over. So this is the crypto Twitter mid-curve playing out in real time. I think there's something to be said for this comment, not because it's going to be necessarily $20,000 to $25,000. It could be higher than that, could be lower than that. And as I've said, I'm not going to give any of my own personal predictions. I think if that does become super clear to me somehow, which sometimes happens doing these videos a lot, then I will share that. But right now, I'm just kind of riding along. Am I selling? No, I don't think this is the right point for me to be selling. I'm happy to hold on. How high it will go easily could surpass 10K. And what happens is that, let's say you have those folks that their price target of 10K is hit, they sell off. Maybe we get some sort of sell down to, I don't know, 8,700. They're like, yeah, did it good. And then they're just out of the market. They stop paying attention. Market rips right back up past 10K. They're like, oh no, it's now at 11K, 12K. I got to buy back in. And that's how people lose money, is by not riding, trying to time the market. And that's a dangerous game to be playing. So yeah, that kind of thing could spur people to want to over-invest in these kinds of assets and eventually drive these prices higher than could be expected. So yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys. And maybe it's just me with my ETH bias, ETH Bitcoin bias, but ETH Zen said this on the Ethereum Reddit: I really want a giant face-melting green cucumber. In unrelated news, I'd also like the price of ETH to go up. Yeah. Anyway, MicroStrategy buys 1,070 Bitcoin, plans to raise up to $2 billion to preferred stock offerings. So these preferred stock offerings will be used to buy more Bitcoin. Obviously, they're like the Bitcoin company. These preferred stock options allow them to get dividends, convert to other classes of stock, and so on. It's just a way to raise money to continue to buy Bitcoin, which is what MicroStrategy's plan has become. You really haven't heard that a trillion times. So a huge purchase yet again, bringing their total Bitcoin holdings to $447,470. That's a lot of fours. Maybe not enough zeros. Probably enough zeros. They're getting quite powerful when it comes to having a lot of Bitcoin. But Saylor has vowed, if you missed this one, to destroy Bitcoin keys upon death as a gift to global hodlers. He said this on Fox Business in some sort of interview there. He suggested that the burning of Bitcoins or destroying the private key will permanently remove access to the tokens, reducing the number of Bitcoin in supply, which will benefit basically all Bitcoin hodlers. And we do have to keep in mind that this is probably applied to Saylor's personal Bitcoin holdings, which probably are sizable. I'm going to say they probably are, but they're not MicroStrategy's Bitcoin. That belongs to MicroStrategy, and nowhere is he said he's going to burn all of MicroStrategy's Bitcoin. So when he dies, it doesn't necessarily mean the Bitcoin price is going to go up, but certainly less Bitcoin will be available considering the total supply that is out there, which, by the way, about 19,924,481.25 Bitcoins exist. So that means there's only 1,175,518.8 Bitcoins remaining to be mined. Currently about 450 Bitcoins are mined in a day. I didn't verify that, but according to this is Bitbo. But certainly most of the Bitcoin is out there, so the more and more that gets lost, it does benefit potentially if those Bitcoin are at all relevant to being traded on the market and will never be sold, will never be available to be sold, could technically really impact the bottom line of everyone's Bitcoin holdings here. Kohler, so this is that other company that was mentioned in the earlier CoinDesk article. Kohler Technology Group have put out a press release. They are on the New York Stock Exchange under ticker KULR. They are a leader, it says here, in advanced energy management platforms. I really don't know much about them, but apparently they have doubled their total Bitcoin treasury holdings, doubling $21 million worth to $42 million worth of Bitcoin. So another treasury that is now making the headlines here, accruing more Bitcoin and getting a bigger piece of that pie. This was an article about Vitalik Buterin cashing in on meme coins that he received for free. So we've talked about this kind of article in the past. What he does pretty much is donate these tokens. If you're thinking he's just getting these free meme coins, probably free marketing and so on, and just pocketing that's not the case. The guy doesn't really need to do that. So he has promised to basically donate them to charity, although he's advised against folks actually sending him meme coins. So in this particular case, he made a profit of over $100,000. He sold meme coins such as Dog, SD, I said like SD Lauder, I don't know, and Dinu in exchange for Ethereum and USD. This is, for example, something he put out on October 7th of last year. I appreciate all the meme coins that donate portions of their supply directly to charity. For example, I saw Ebull sent a bunch to various groups last month. Anything that gets sent to me gets donated to charity too. Thanks, Mudang. The $10 billion from today is going to anti-airborne disease tech, though I truly prefer if you guys send to charity directly, maybe even make a DAO and get your community directly engaged in these decisions and process. And if you're someone new to crypto, a DAO is a way to basically vote. People get different votes within some sort of digital organization that is smart contract native, from all that I've heard of them since their inception. And basically each token holder gets some sort of vote, or however that's made for each different DAO, this decentralized autonomous organization, and they can decide how to use funds in their treasury to promote, to develop, to research, you name it. A DAO can basically distribute funds in a way set by the token voters, I guess you could say. But yeah, that would be a really cool way to donate to charity. And I've said before that I think the best thing for meme coins is if they can be maximally positive sum for the world. So it's great to see moments when that actually happens. So he doesn't really have much of an interest, it looks like, in these meme coins for himself personally, but more in the positive good that they can do for others in the world. So I do respect Vitalik in that way, and we do have to honor our leaders who do things right. So shout out to Vitalik for that one. So this is another piece of news that's people are really trying to disseminate and understand still in crypto today. That Federal Reserve Board has announced the resignation of Michael Barr as the vice chair for supervision. Barr will remain on the board of governors. They did announce a Warren acolyte. Barr was widely considered to be Warren Buffett. He has not been at all receptive to Bitcoin, calling it rat poison. So a Warren acolyte, Barr was widely considered to be a big part of the reason why banks have been unable to engage with and custody crypto. And that this is the official announcement here that he's going to be stepping down effective February 28th, 2025. So I was trying to figure out, like, is this guy really bad for crypto? I mean, obviously, he works for the Fed, but he had a quite influential role as he's been at the Fed, and as he will continue to be for just over a month. So this was a position that was created to create greater responsibility, transparency, and accountability for the Federal Reserve supervision and regulation of the financial system. And he was someone who was really kind of the main liaison for what I'm seeing with the banks, someone who has not been really good when it comes to stable coins, banks custodying stable coins and their abilities to do so. So where is it here? He did have some apparently crypto bona fides before his appointment there as supervisor, including serving as an advisor to Ripple, the issuer of the XRP token. And he has pushed for the Federal Reserve to have the power to regulate and enforce a law against stablecoin issuers in the U.S., according to CoinDesk here, which many Republican lawmakers have taken issue with. So I think the expectation is that we might get someone who's a little bit more open, and I would like to see that. But personally, I would like to see the Fed burn down and rethought brand new for the modern economy. But maybe that's just me. I'm allowed to have an opinion. Someone else who's leaving office potentially is Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, someone else who has not been great as far as a crypto supporter. He said he would step down as Prime Minister as soon as someone else could possibly take that role. I intend to resign as party leader, he said, as Prime Minister after the party selects its new leader. So he hasn't resigned just yet, but he could be in the future. So it said that and this is kind of news, maybe I missed this, and so I share it with you guys. The government's freezing crypto accounts reverberated beyond Canada. So this was something that was happening in Canada under his leadership. We need to remind people what leader means. Anyway, and became a rallying cry among U.S. Republican lawmakers during the 2024 elections. Oh yeah, freezing crypto, good. We got to do that here in the United States. Those politicians use that situation as a primary example of the danger of allowing central bank digital currencies that could establish government intrusions into crypto transactions. I did hear that apparently the Trump administration here in the United States, Trump had said as one of his 10 promises related to crypto that I had seen in an article that he would be doing everything in his power to stop some sort of central bank denominated digital currency. So I really hope, out of many things, that is indeed a focus. Probably not a main one, but I would hope so. So this was really interesting. This is someone who could potentially be the next prime minister, according to this post on Twitter by the Bitcoin therapist. This is one of the best explanations on inflation by a politician that I've ever heard. This is Pierre Poilievre. He is expected to be Canada's next prime minister. He is also pro-Bitcoin. We are winning. Yeah, I would like to see people really understand inflation, not just talk with their heads stuck in their butt.
Yes.
What are the steps that need to be taken to fix the damages done to inflation?
First and foremost, stop the overspending. Inflation, high taxes, deficits, high interest rates are all symptoms. The disease is overspending. When governments spend too much money, there's only three ways to get it. One is to raise your taxes. The other is to borrow, which means that they'll tax you more later on. And the third way is to print money. Now, printing money seems like a painless way to pay for things, but it's very simple. If you have 10 apples and $10 in the economy, it's a bucket apple. If you double the number of dollars in the economy to 20, you still only have 10 apples. You're not twice as rich. It's just that each apple costs twice as much. And that is a tax on the working people because it chews up the purchasing power of your paycheck, only to pay for excessive government spending, and it balloons the asset values of the billionaires. So it's a real transfer from the have-nots to the have-yots. Inflation is the worst and most immoral tax. It always results from government creating cash. Our government has created about $700 billion of cash in the last 3 years. So we used to have $1.8 trillion of bills, coins, and bank deposits. That was about 3-4 years ago. Now it's up to 2.5 trillion. So that's extra cash, but the economy has only grown by 4%. So the real things in the economy have only grown by 4%. the cash has grown by 40. So the money supply is growing 10 times faster than the stuff money buys, which creates a bidding war, and that's what's driving up inflation. We have to cap government spending with a dollar for dollar law that requires my ministers find $1 of savings for every new dollar of spending, so that they go into their departments, find the waste and mismanagement. They want to spend more here, they have to spend less there, or get a bargain here and there to bring both under budget. Then and only then will we stop the money printing, borrowing, and overtaxation and wrestle inflation to the ground. Thank you.
I'm still going to go with, I think maybe it's more about just rethinking centralized power altogether, which ultimately could lead to the very situation. When you have these with the printers able to do that, there'll always be someone who wants to power those puppies up so that the have-yachts benefit and not the have-nots. Anyway, yeah, I think that was pretty insightful, and rarely have I heard such real critical thinking and explanation about what inflation is from a politician. So I do want to give a nod in that direction. It's this Pierre fella who I didn't know before I brought this segment to you guys. But yeah, we'll see if he actually becomes Canada's prime minister and he does good. We need to be shaping things around here, reshaping things in the United States. Check this out. The average age of the 118th Congress is 58 years old, and the average age of the Senate, 64 years. So this was actually from the last Senate. So this was in February 6, 2023, this is published. But I imagine not much has changed. It's just like I had heard recently, like, in most jobs, if someone is over 70, they're considered unfit to work. They really are not there mentally or physical to do so much work. But when it comes to those who operate these levers of power, somehow we have had them at the top for so long and not benefiting so many of us. And a lot of these guys had come through power, these older folks, back around or after like World War I, World War II, when we had this American exceptionalism and had a mindset that is so far removed from the current obstacles and realities that we face here in the United States and really around the entire world. So we do need better leaders and really better thinking on economics and education. So I'm happy to play my part here, just really with the crypto education and news. And I appreciate you guys so much for taking part here. Thank you again, Zam, for that donation. Thank you for being you, man. You're one of the best. And yeah, Validator, thank you for making it. Kevin Hawthorne, good evening. Happy New Year. R2 Works C, thank you for making it out. And Mr. Orange, always showing up these days. I appreciate that. And if I don't see you here in the live stream, thank you for still watching it in your own time. It means just as much to me. I would appreciate any of your comments down below if you had any during this video about anything, or if you just want to share some news that you think the wider community might want to know. I'd appreciate that too. And I'll finish here with our quote of the day by Greg Mankiw. Economics is a study of how society manages its scarce resources. There's something to be said about storing it in energy-powered Bitcoin as a unit of account rather than hoarding shiny metals, which so difficult to manage on so many different levels. I think the future is cryptocurrency, and I think it's clear to more people than ever in the world that it is here to stay and something not to be ignored or laughed at. Take care, everyone. Much love and stay cryptic. Peace.